Let me ask you something. Imagine you've just retired. You have $1 million sitting in your retirement account. You should feel on top of the world, right? But here's what I hear from retirees all the time, and it might surprise you. I have more money saved than I ever thought I would, but I'm scared to spend it. What if it runs out? What if something goes wrong? What if I live longer than my money does? $1 million. And they're still losing sleep. If that sounds familiar, or if you're heading into retirement and you're worried this might be you, stay with me because today we're going to talk about exactly why this happens and, more importantly, what actually creates the retirement security that a big account balance alone simply can't give you. Let's start with a little math that most people never actually sit down and do. You have $1 million. That feels like a lot, and it is. You worked hard for it, and you should be proud of that. But let's look at what $1 million actually produces in retirement income. Financial planners have long referenced something called the 4% rule. The idea that you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio each year with a reasonable expectation that your money will last 30 years. 4% of $1 million is $40,000 a year. That's $3,333 a month before taxes. Now, add your Social Security benefit. Let's say it's $2,000 a month. That gives you roughly $5,333 a month in gross income. Sounds okay, right? But here's what people forget. Part of your Social Security benefit may be taxable, up to 85% of it, depending on your other income. You may have Medicare premiums coming out. You've got property taxes, insurance, utilities, groceries, and the rising cost of just about everything. Suddenly, that $1 million doesn't feel quite so big. And here's the most important reframe I want you to take away from this entire video. Your net worth is not your retirement plan. Your cash flow is. Retirees don't live on a balance, they live on income. And a lump sum sitting in an account, no matter how large, does not automatically become reliable, predictable income. So, why specifically do retirees with significant savings still feel this knot in their stomach? I've narrowed it down to three core reasons. The first reason is that they have no guaranteed income floor. Think about what a pension used to do for retirees. Every single month, a check showed up. Didn't matter what the stock market did, didn't matter what happened in Washington, D.C. That check came, and retirees with pensions slept better at night because their essential expenses were covered, no matter what. But most of today's retirees don't have pensions. They have 401ks and IRAs, accounts that rise and fall with the market. And when the market drops, and at some point it always does, every single withdrawal they take feels like they're locking in a loss. This is what we call sequence of returns risk. It's one of the most dangerous and least talked about retirement risks out there. Here's how it works in plain English. If you retire and the market drops significantly in your first 2 or 3 years, even if it fully recovers later, the damage to your portfolio can be permanent because you were taking withdrawals while the account was down. You sold shares at a loss. Those shares are gone. They can't recover with the market. And here's the painful irony. Retirees who understand this risk often respond by spending less than they could. They hold back. They don't take the trips. They don't help the grandkids the way they wanted to. They live smaller than their savings would actually support because fear is running the show. That is not the retirement you worked for. The second reason is that healthcare costs, especially long term care, represent an open ended financial threat that no savings balance can fully neutralize. Let's talk about Medicare for a second. Most people assume that once they hit 65 and enroll in Medicare, their healthcare costs are basically handled. And Medicare is a great program, but it has gaps and it has costs. If your income in retirement is above certain thresholds, you'll pay what's called an IRMA surcharge, income related monthly adjustment amount. That's a fancy way of saying Medicare charges you more based on your income. For some retirees, that adds hundreds of dollars per month to their Medicare Part B and Part D premiums. And many retirees don't even know this is coming until they get the bill. But the bigger wild card is long term care. We're talking about the cost of needing help with daily activities, whether that's in home care, an assisted living facility, or a skilled nursing facility. The average cost of a private room in a nursing home is over $100,000 per year, and Medicare covers very little of it. One significant long-term care event can consume years worth of carefully saved retirement funds, sometimes in just a few years. $1 million can evaporate faster than most people ever imagine when long-term care enters the picture. The third reason, and honestly the one I think gets overlooked the most, is the combination of inflation and longevity. People are living longer. If you're a healthy 65-year-old today, there's a very real possibility you'll live into your late 80s or even 90s. That's potentially 25 to 30 years of retirement. That's not a short sprint. That's a marathon. Now, let's layer inflation on top of that. At just 3% annual inflation, which is historically pretty modest, the purchasing power of your money cuts in half approximately every 24 years. That means the $5,000 a month that feels comfortable when you retire at 65 may feel like $2,500 a month in real purchasing power by the time you're in your late 80s. The things you'll need most in your later years, healthcare, medications, housing, caregiving, tend to inflate faster than the general rate. So when a retiree tells me they're worried their money won't last, they're not being irrational. They're not being pessimistic. They're correctly identifying a mathematical reality. A fixed pile of money facing rising costs over an unknown number of years is a genuine challenge. The fear isn't the problem. The lack of a plan to address it, that's the problem. So let's talk about what actually creates the feeling of security that every retiree deserves. And I want to be very clear about something. Security in retirement does not come from a bigger balance. It comes from predictable, guaranteed lifetime income. Money you know is coming every single month, no matter how long you live, no matter what the market does. The strategy that addresses this is called the income floor approach. Here's the concept in plain English. You identify your essential monthly expenses, your housing, food, utilities, healthcare, transportation, the non-negotiables. Then you work to cover those expenses with income sources that are guaranteed and that you cannot outlive. That's your floor. That's the foundation. Once your floor is covered, everything above it, your travel fund, your gifting, your fund money, can be drawn from your investment portfolio. And because the essentials are already handled, you can actually invest that remaining money with appropriate risk tolerance without panicking every time the market hiccups. So, what are the tools to build that income floor? First, Social Security optimization. Most people claim Social Security too early and leave significant money on the table. Depending on your situation, Strategic claiming, including delay strategies, can meaningfully increase your guaranteed monthly benefit for the rest of your life. It can also reduce the amount of your Social Security that's subject to income tax by carefully managing your other income sources. Second, fixed indexed annuities with a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit, or GLWB. I know the word annuity makes some people nervous, but a fixed indexed annuity is not your grandfather's annuity. With a GLWB rider, you get the ability to participate in some of the market's upside when times are good, while your principal is protected when the markets decline. And the guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit means you receive a predictable income stream you cannot outlive, even if your account value goes to zero. That's a powerful combination: growth potential, downside protection, and guaranteed income for life. Third, coordinating your income withdrawals strategically. This is where Social Security planning, IRMA management, and tax efficiency come together. By being intentional about which accounts you draw from and when, and by managing your modified adjusted gross income carefully, you may be able to reduce the taxes on your Social Security benefits and avoid or reduce those IRMA Medicare surcharges. These aren't small numbers. For some retirees, smart income coordination saves thousands of dollars per year. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. $1 million in a retirement account is a tremendous accomplishment, but a balance is not a plan. A number is not security. What creates security is knowing, not hoping, not calculating on a napkin at the kitchen table, but knowing that your essential expenses are covered every single month for the rest of your life, no matter what. The goal of retirement planning isn't just accumulation, it's conversion. Taking what you've saved and converting it into an income strategy that protects you from market downturns, rising healthcare costs, inflation, and the risk of simply living a long life. You can have both growth potential and protection. You can have both flexibility and guaranteed income. You don't have to choose between them. If this video helped you, please get the free booklet called For Those Who Want to Prosper and Thrive in Retirement. Check out the link in the description box to get that information. This is Retirement Security Simplified, where we specialize in turning confusion into confidence, one conversation at a time.